If you're looking for a podcast that packs in sound property advice, as well as offering you an insight into making the world of property effective and ultimately work for you, you're in the right place. Hosted by Arsh Elahi, the original property rebel. He's written an Amazon bestseller, created the Property Investor app, the UK's first, and is an experienced property mentor. More importantly, he talks the talk and walks the walk.
Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of The Property Rebel with your host Arsh Elahi. Before we go on to talking about what we're covering in today's session, I want to say a quick hello to all new listeners, all new subscribers all around the world. We're reaching a massive amount of new countries, and I want to just say thank you and hello. Hopefully you're enjoying it. Hopefully you're listening to all the sessions, taking away all the golden nuggets that I'm sharing with you for absolutely free. Now, I'm doing something a little bit different for this podcast. We're not going to be talking about a property, or we're not going to be talking about strategy. I've actually managed to get quite what I would consider high-profile guest for this session, and we're running a Man Behind the Brand series. I'm going to start to try and interview more disruptive entrepreneurs, or property rebels, shall we call them. And what better way to start than local West Midlands-based business entrepreneur Bobby Singh. So Bobby, do you want to say hello?
Yeah, hi, good morning everyone. Arsh, lovely to be on your podcast, mate.
So brilliant.
I'm humbled.
So Bobby, so you've got to remember that this podcast it's a one-take show. It's a one-take show, so there's no edits. There's going to be some ifs, ums and ahs. I've never really swore on the podcast, so if we can refrain from swearing, that'd be fantastic.
Absolutely fine.
Just to make sure that obviously everyone is over the age of 18, which is fine. So there's going to be some ifs, ums and ahs, and probably some long pauses, but believe it or not, that is fine. There's nothing wrong with a bit of raw content. So Bobby, for those that don't know who Bobby Singh is, tell us, who is Bobby Singh? What's your background?
Background is I'm just an average guy born to, working class parents that came from India 40 something years ago. Lived in a semi-detached home in Smethwick, went to Holly Lodge, studied. Parents wanted me to be an accountant, so I became an accountant, worked for PwC KPMG, resigned and retired off the register at 27, and struggled for 1 year. Went into the world of depression, a very, very dark place, as I struggled with losing all my wealth, losing some important relationships, and of course losing my mind, and then went into the world of property.
Okay, that's interesting. So you've had some challenges.
Absolutely.
Personally.
Haven't we all?
Yeah, we all have, absolutely. And this is fantastic, especially for the listeners, because things don't always go to plan.
No, they don't.
And it's fantastic to hear that you've had some challenges, and we'll try and divulge into those in a short while.
Sure.
Okay, so I've approached you to become the opening Man Behind the Brand series because I can't drive around Birmingham without seeing your name on a billboard. Now, when I went to a property event, I went to Grand Designs Live. You were the main sponsor.
Yeah.
You were the main sponsor when some of the larger property investment shows all over the country. You're becoming one of the main sponsors. And I'll be honest, it kind of racked my brains out. I thought, okay, so Bobby's got a letting agency and estate agency based in the West Midlands, but surely these endorsements or these
working with these
deals,
partnerships
deals, I said, surely, how can one business afford what I would consider a marketing campaign that a company like PwC would be looking to do?
Okay. Do you want me to answer that one?
Please do. It
starts from somewhere, doesn't it?
It absolutely has to start from somewhere.
It started from a single billboard 3-4 years ago. We built the brand on the back of a photo. I got carried away, but inside me it started from a place of pain, because as I said to you 2 minutes ago, I lost a few people in my life. Some of those people that left me said that you're going to result to nothing, you will be nothing, and goodbye. And I still remember, and I remember, thinking to myself, what would it take to keep you in my life? And the sum was a measly I'm worth 60, 70,000 pounds a year as a dentist, and you're nothing. So those things ate away at me. So then what happens is then you build your life back up, and I'm super grateful for my amazing life, married with a lovely, lovely, beautiful wife who's with me right now, 3 kids, and just for them, I want to create, a story, and that story then became a legacy. That legacy now is there to motivate other people. How can this one man lose it all and then go on to building these partnerships and these relationships, which are absurd? And when we look at the size of the partnership and we look at who they were with, I look back and I have to pinch myself, but Ash, it was my family that got me there. Remember, you asked me 2 minutes ago, what is your favorite quotation? And it has to be, my daddy is a bee's knees. Now, this is me being creative with my daughter, and my daughter at 3-4 years old, I put her on a billboard and I said, hey honey, you love saying daddy is a bee's knees. Look at that billboard. And there's a picture of my daughter on it. I've built brands on the back of my photo. I brought my family onto it, and they opened up the doors to Grand Designs Live. There were individuals like Michael Rossi, who's sitting in London working for, I won't mention the companies, but he called me and he said, we love what you're doing and we want to work with your creative team and we want to introduce you to Grand Designs Live. This is the 6-figure sum that's required to be a partner. And I said, that's interesting. And that's how it all starts, doesn't it? When they approach you, and I think that happens through creativity. I never, I never not included my family. My family have always driven me, and this is a perfect example of where even your own kids can take you if you bring them into your brand. And obviously, their hearts melted when they saw the quotation. And remember, the brand is built around daddy. It's built around me. So when the quotation was, my daddy is a bee's knees, everybody pointed to, that's Bobby's daughter. Now, when I go out there, people know my family, they know my business, they know more about me than probably my wife does. It's because I'm extremely, I'm extremely, what can I say, transparent.
Well, you're definitely out there. You're definitely out there.
I don't think
if I was to go to a property event, and we've both been in the same property black tie do's, especially around the festive seasons, which unfortunately I don't think we're going to get this year.
No.
But down to some of the black tie do's, you can't walk in and I think we're two great, no, I don't like saying great, but we're two personalities in property in the West Midlands region, and they'll know of us both, but more so you, because you're out there publicly on the billboards.
Yeah, but they know of you for all the right reasons as well. But I guess your audience is what you've made, and it's very selective. You see, my audience, Ash, is everybody, and I haven't missed anybody else. Your audience is the people in the world of property. So you've been quite specific with who you wanted to reach out to. I haven't. I've done the opposite. So I've gone for everyone. I don't care what your position is. I don't care what your color. When you do this advertising, it's super high cost. So I built a brand for everyone. So what I've done is I've built 3 brands. I've built several businesses, and you only see one campaign, but it's actually built 3-4 different brands in the background.
Okay.
And I will explain how that works later.
So how have you found the impact? So you've gone on a mass marketing campaign.
Yeah.
Have you found that that's had an impact on your business?
Huge. It's had a bigger impact on me as an individual, because look, let's go back to, if somebody says to you, you can't make it, or if somebody knocks the confidence out of you, you have a duty to turn that situation around. So I got carried away. When everything's comfortable and it's working, most people take the money off the table. I reinvested it again and again and again. And what you see is that reinvestment now just, paying back. And there's no timeline to this sort of success. It's there, and it just keeps on giving back. Reason being, it's out there in front of too many people for it to be missed. And it's iconic, it gets remembered, and we look back at it and we laugh. because there's so many different actions in one campaign. You see, what you don't see is just Love Your Postcode. You see this guy, and you see the guy doing an action, and then you want to know what's the reason for that action, so it's got you thinking. So when the time is right, I'm hoping that people will remember that action and remember the guy and give that individual an opportunity. Now, for something that's only 3 years in, it started off around this time in October 2017, when we took our first billboard, and then it has gradually grown. And by 2019, it had the whole of the NEC group involved in that. It had all of L&X, and it had, you know, coverage across the whole of the UK, all of their shopping centres, service stations. And one could turn around and say, you know, but do you even reach that far? It wasn't about reaching that far. It was about connecting social media, connecting myself, because I'm pretty, you know, well known on LinkedIn. So sometimes, Ash, you need an endorsement. So if somebody says to you, have you heard of this guy, Bobby? You could say, well, I went and looked him up on LinkedIn and he's got 30, 40,000 followers. That's one endorsement. If I ask, is he successful? They say, well, he's bloody everywhere. You know, that is successful automatically. So what I wanted to do in building my brand and building my business was, I didn't want it to be left out there for people to assume. There is nothing to assume. You can only be that visible if you're successful. So bringing in all of the partnerships, bringing in all of the black tie events, bringing in all of the dinners and dances, this is all from the world of property and my background in business and what I learned at PricewaterhouseCoopers and KPMG. And all I did was I gained experience of doing corporate finance, and I worked with 200 to 300 companies. I learnt the very best skills and I applied it to property. And yes, I'm a rebel, which is why I'm on your podcast, because I didn't do it by following the rules. I made up my own rules. I said, who's written this? I don't like this. I'm changing it. This doesn't suit me. I'm not going to be around here for 100 years trying to make things work, or, you know, bringing it all together. I'm going to do this within 5 years, within 3 years, within 2 years. And I think people thought I was crazy. But I said, well, what's the alternative? What, put it in the bank? Put it in property? No, I'm going to make this work so hard for me that every single day my teams are going to get between 10, 20, 30 opportunities, and they can go out there and close any one of them. Why would I want to put it in one opportunity when I can see 30 a day? And that's a reason, Ash, why it's grown, because, you know, as you can imagine, doing all of these deals and these partnerships, all it's done, it's just created more positive energy. And it's created noise in circles that I didn't even know existed.
And this is brilliant to hear, because I'm going to relate this back to the listeners now.
Sure.
And if you're a property investor and you're looking to get started, one thing that Bobby really resonated with me is that you've got to get started somewhere. It all starts with a vision. It all starts with a dream.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as a result, you've put yourself out there. Now, as a property investor, if you're looking to start, what would be the 3 top tips that you'd give to someone? Just imagine going back to us as young investors starting from scratch. What would three tips be?
Yeah, start early as you can. So don't let age hold you back. Some of the greatest people that I've taken on, and I've got, you know, 20, 30 people working in my group, some of the best are the youngest, because they've already been learning from the age of 16. I've got a guy sitting in the business right now, James Snape. He's 18 and he's already on his second property investment. You know, at 18, I hadn't even started.
Can I quote one of your famous quotes?
Sure.
Be more like a lion.
Be more lion.
Be more lion.
Be more lion. Yeah.
Be more lion. So where's that resonated from? Because I'm assuming that starting young.
Yeah.
Does that?
Okay, fine. So Be More Lion, it literally was created on LinkedIn, because what I've realized on LinkedIn, people don't want to hear about my wealth or my success or what I'm wearing or what I'm driving. People want to be motivated, and the only way to do well on social media is to give something back. So what you don't do on social media is you don't sit there saying, this is what I can do for you, this is what I can do in the world of property. Yeah, we've heard it. 1 million people can do the same. But actually, by giving people motivation and by encouraging them to be the very best, take the risks, be more lion, be ferocious, be hungry, don't stop, and don't limit yourself. So what I've realized a couple of years ago was, you know, you can sit there and show off, or you can sit there and be humble and genuinely care about those people that are watching. And what are they watching for? They're investing their time into you. The least you can do is give them some positive energy back. And I learned this because when I was on my knees in 2008 and I was at my lowest point, I needed uplifting as well. So I run a lot of my social media. My Facebook Live has got 23,000 followers. Can I give a plug-in if that's okay? So it's Love Your Postcode's business Facebook page. I've sabotaged it. I became a lion and I took over the whole of the business. Now, it's me as a Bobby Singh brand that's connecting and motivating and encouraging. But as the back end of it, my businesses are obviously flourishing, because when you genuinely give something back, it takes us 2 minutes to give a positive quotation and to give them a story. So what I do is I give an example of everyday life. I'm going through this challenge, and Ash, what I found was that the best thing is be transparent, share all of the things where you go wrong. And people often connect with all of your failures before they connect with your successes. So there's not many people out there that will ever talk about their failure. But I found by talking about my failure, more people wanted to know about my failings than they want to know about my successes. So actually, why don't you tell them the failures, but then also show them how you made it successful at the end. So it's always good to take them on a journey, but make it a truthful one. And the other thing is, don't talk about somebody else's life. Make your own life so big that Be More Lion is a quotation, it's a hashtag that's being used on LinkedIn by many people. And Osh, we trademarked it, we bought the domains, we had to do all of this. I was even taken on by Lion Capital. Lion Capital said you're using the word lion, and we're not going to give you authority because, Lion Capital is a multi-billion-pound global fund. It's got Nando's under its umbrella. And I had to go through a battle to take that, and they've allowed me the rights to use Be More Lion in the world of property. So you've got to fight for it, man.
You do. You've definitely got to fight for it. And I like the fact that you tell people about the tough times, but as a result of jumping through the tough times, we've managed to get through to the good times. And without doing a bit of a plug, but that's what my book is all about.
Super.
My book is called Boom, Bust and Back Again.
Super.
Because I've seen some really good times, I've seen some really, really bad times, but I'm still here to tell the tale. I've fought back, and with the tenacity and the drive and the ambition, we are where we are
Absolutely.
today.
Ash, I know your story. I'm going to read the book, but I know your story because, you've been part of the journey in many ways, and we don't live too far away from one another. And the truth is, you always have an interest in what somebody else is doing, more so for the fact that, we're similar sort of age, we've got wives, we've got kids, and we're going through the same sort of journey. And I'm sure your motivational factors are probably different as well, which makes you a rebel, makes you successful. And I break all of the rules, and I'm trying to get to where you are slowly.
In terms of property, then, Bobby. So, are you your agency? It does sales, it does lettings, but Bobby, as an individual, do you also invest in property yourself?
Yeah, so we do developing, we do refurbishing, buying, selling. So we've got we've got 2 property funds, which we're always acquiring properties in. We don't have no third-party investment. So everything that we've gone and created is our own funds. And, I've got a bitter relationship with banks because when I needed an overdraft when I had no income, they refused me. And it was painful because in 2008, I had outgoings and I kept hitting my overdraft limit, and they were charging me £35 a time. So, now that things are successful, things are running, my wife always says, darling, why don't we go to the bank and borrow £1 million? And, you did say to me, don't swear, so I won't swear. I've got this hate relationship for those institutions. They only help those that are rich and successful. They don't help the person who's trying to...
Are they the ones that are now knocking on your door saying, Bobby, can we lend to you?
All the time. So they're the ones that are now giving us bloody, rates which are eye-watering rates. But I personally, I don't have the relationship that you'd normally consider a great one with a bank. Yes, they want to give me things, but I always think back when I needed your help. And I know a lot of your listeners are listening to this right now, and they're probably starting their journey and nobody's listening, nobody's prepared to take a risk on them. But yeah, if a successful man walks into a bank, he'll walk out with an interest rate of 1.5%. So, keep going, work on it. On my part, I don't give anything to them, and they'll be very lucky if I take a penny off them.
Okay, interesting. So, yeah, everyone's on a different journey. Everyone will get different rates. I've been there. I've felt that pain as well. Going back to 2008, people didn't want to lend. They didn't want to lend to me. They thought I was over leveraged, I was over geared, and what have you. But now we've got if I need something, I can pick up the phone to someone, and I can have an agreement done within 24 hours and drawn down within 24 to 48 hours. So I completely get that. Okay. So I've got lots of questions. For you. So what's the hardest lesson that you've probably learned in property and in business?
Okay, my hardest lesson, and this will be the hardest, lesson, and I'm going to share it with you guys because I always share this, is when I first started, and because I was from the world of, professional institutions like KPMG, PwC, I had no idea what the world of property looked like. I hadn't done anything in the world of property. So I had to learn the hard way. So what do? You people say fake it till you make it. So what part of my strategy was to say that we're world class, that we're number one, that we're the best in Birmingham. And immediately I was shut down by trading standards. I was labelled with tags like fraudster, with awful things. And these things, even to this day, they hurt me, they pain me. My only crime was the fact that I knew I would make it one day. But actually at that point, it could have been really gentle. It could have been, Bobby, you can't do that. You can't call yourself number one when you're not. But what they did instead was they made a real example of me, and they tried to tarnish me with a bad reputation. And even to this day, people today look at what we've created, and they always ask the question, how was all this created? Where's all this money come from? Like, this must have been something to do with, trading standards investigation 10 years ago. And the funny thing is, Ash, it was exactly that situation where they tried to push me out of the industry, and all for what? For saying that I was number one. Like, who hasn't said that? Who hasn't caveated it with an asterisk or something small? I just didn't do it. I was 29 at the time, and I made a mistake, and I got fined, I got charged, lots of different things happened in my life. And at that point I looked to my wife and I said to her, and I apologized because we'd just got married, and I said, I'm so sorry. It looks like the bad days aren't behind us, because in 2008 I really struggled, and then by 2009, 2010 I'm going through something terrible again. It's almost like bad luck was following me around. But this is where was there a level of regret then for leaving corporate world, because you thought, okay? No.
Has there ever been a level of regret?
Never.
So if someone's listening to this now and they are in corporate and they are in two minds and thinking, do I take the jump? Do I not? Okay, so
I never took the jump.
Okay.
I never took the jump. The jump happened for me. They made the jump for me.
Okay, so if you were in a different position, and you're thinking, okay, I can really make a go of property, but I'm on a really cushy number here at KPMG.
Yeah.
And there are other companies available, by the way. So they're side by side.
You've got to do it side by side. I wouldn't say to somebody, just come out of it and just go into the world of property, because you'll be killing an income.
But is that, in that case, are you only ever giving property 50% a chance?
Well, when I worked at PwC, I gave, my mind was in a completely different place. My mind was all in, then this is how my mind works. My mind was in the world of marketing and branding and advertising. I'd walk through the city and I'd think, wouldn't it be amazing to see a billboard with, with this on it, with that on it, with this. So all I was ever doing was creative things were going through my mind. The problem that I had, and I'll answer your question shortly, the issue, that entrepreneurs have are that they keep coming with ideas, eating, sleeping, drinking. I remember being on dance floors, dancing, and I remember thinking of business ideas, because let's face it, an entrepreneur doesn't stop, because he's coming up with different ideas all the time. This would be a great idea, that would be great. And most of my ideas were around branding. It was around the fact that 1 million people could see this if only we had something visible here. But before you go and create that, you've got to create the business. So you don't go for the advert first. You've got to create the business that's going to serve a purpose and then go for the advert. So what you could ask me the question, Bobby, so what motivates motivated you? What motivated me was to create a brand. But back then, 10 years ago, there's no such thing as brand this, brand that. Brand is something very new, and everybody's on the brand wagon. Brand this, brand that. Nobody talks about businesses. Nobody talks about companies anymore. It's a dull word. It's all about my brand, my this. So I remember thinking to myself, I would love to create something that could help me be there in front of 1 million people. And that's how, I went into it. Did I give it my 50%? No. I think what happens is I'm a spiritual individual, and I believe in God's will. And I think God himself turned around and says, Bobby, you've been showing off about being in a senior position at PricewaterhouseCoopers. You've sat on round tables. You've given awards out. You've done PwC headline sponsorship. You've sat on the table with partners earning £500,000. And I'm only a youngster. I'm 25, 26. I tasted that life, but I wasn't comfortable because, I wanted my own table. I didn't want somebody else's table. I didn't want to be comfortable knowing I'm drinking somebody else's drink. At that point, I was a party boy. So all I ever did was I partied hard under the PwC umbrella. But in my mind, I wanted to be the guy that went up on stage and collected awards. Because I remember going to something called the Jewel Awards in 2005, 2006. This was Lloyd's. And I remember, watching property developers collect awards. And Claremont, who are Birmingham City Centre based, property firm back then, had the Rotunda building. And I remember giving an award to one of the directors. And I thought to myself, I would love to be in this position, receiving an award one day. But in order to be there, I have to take a few risks. And then what did I do? I put my money into stocks and shares, and I literally went crazy. And at this point, the market was just about to collapse. So I was doing lots of different things. As an entrepreneur, people do look to, what's going to make me that next 200-300% return? And I took crazy risks, as you do. And that's a different story.
Okay, interesting. So yeah, you diversified. So going back to the question, would you jump? Because that's what they want to know. If you're on a question,
shall I tell you what you do? You burn all of your bridges. You bring your position down. You do everything to exit that company, and you do it professionally. And then you ask yourself the question every day I wake up: am I living my best life? Am I living for me, or am I doing this for the money? And until you get to that point where you're living your best life, change. So the answer to your question is, what did I do at PwC? I didn't want to leave PwC. I was so happy and so comfortable, but my work, my body language, everything about me was saying I need to exit this place. I break rules. I don't follow rules. And PwC is a rules place. It's all about complying. It's about bowing down. It's got nothing be more lion in it. Today I have the same people that worked alongside me saying, Bobby, I'm amazed to see you everywhere. You have done so well. Yeah, I know. The alternative was what? That I was an accountant. And my wife turned around when I met her in 2009. She turned around, she says, you're far from being an accountant. I definitely think that you should not be an accountant and that you need to be something else. And she did say,
it's worth giving a shout out right now. She's here in the room with us. So hi, Kat.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, so this is a motivation behind Bobby. So this is a lady that has given Bobby 3 beautiful kids.
Yeah.
So Kat, do you want to just give us a quick intro, Bobby? So you've seen the journey, and as you can appreciate, people only see Bobby on the billboard. You know the real Bobby. You've seen Bobby at his best. You've seen him at his worst, at his lowest. And I have to give my wife a shout out here because if I'm honest, my wife is like the diamond, the rock that keeps it all together. Because as entrepreneurs, we sometimes think we are invincible. I don't mind saying that. And we think that anything that we touch will turn into gold. We think we've got the Midas touch. Would you agree?
I agree.
And as a result, I then sometimes have to think and have to go, and I consult with my wife and I say, Shireen, I'm thinking about doing this. What do you reckon? And she goes, she goes, don't bother. She said, don't bother. She goes, things going well here. Let's focus on here, and here. Let's not diversify. Let's not do this. She goes, remember the reason, and I'm going to come on to your reason in a second, Bobby, about work-life balance. And actually, Kat, you might be able to answer this. So Bobby's work-life balance, how would you rate that out of 10? 1 being absolutely terrible. It's all work, 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 work. 10 being is that he is
never works.
He's never worked. So he's Bobby Singh at the office and he's daddy at home. So I like to think that Shireen will not agree with me here. She thinks that I never switch off. And to be fair, I probably agree. But I like to think that between 9 and 5, I'm Mr. Ilahi, I'm Arshil Ilahi, property mogul, this, that and the other. From 5 o'clock, I have to switch off and I become daddy. And as a result of that, I'm all about kids. What do they want to do? I have to admit that there are parts where I'm thinking, oh, I forgot to do that. Oh, I should remember to do that, this, that and the other. But my focus is being dad. So how does that work for Bobby?
I think he's probably, I would say an 8 or 7. I mean, obviously, I've been with.
Hold on. Sorry, I get lost with numbers.
So 8. She's saying that you're actually quite good at work-life balance. She's saying that, Bobby.
Can I raise my moustache?
You can raise your moustache. We've got the famous.
Okay, yep.
You can't see that on the podcast, but he's raising that moustache quite high today. So he's
honey.
good. He's good at dad, and he's good at being Bobby Singh. Love Your Postcode, face of the brand, face of the billboard, face of the city.
Yeah. I mean, I think we've had ups and downs. So I think now I rate him as an 8. An 8. But that's because he's put in a lot of hard work the previous years. So, let's not forget that I've been with Bobby for like 11 years. So at the beginning, Bobby used to work a lot, really long hours. But I think now he's realized, we have 3 kids. We're doing okay. And so he's really good at, I'm going to go training this morning and then I'm going to go into work and do all my, all of the business. Or, honey, let's go out, let's go for dinner. And he tries to be there for the kids as well. I wouldn't say at 5, but he definitely tries to come home early.
My wife says I've got to be home by 5:30. 5:30, try and get them into the bath at 6 o'clock, start reading with them, 6:30, 6:45, in bed by 7. So that's kind of my routine. But
so we're like that, and we've got the same routine. But I mean, he's a lion, so I can't say you have to be here for 5 o'clock because he'll be like, you're not telling me what to do. So, so I can't really play like that with Bobby.
I ain't saying nothing.
He's being more lion because he's not a sheep, so I can't really tell Bobby what to do.
Shireen, I've been called a sheep on this podcast.
Oh, no, so sorry, I didn't mean that. But
no.
I can't tell Bobby what to do, and he's very much of a free spirit. He's very he does consult with me for new ideas and all of that, but
do these
doesn't take into account what
now
I
this
say.
is a bit of a counselling session for me. So does the consultations normally happen in the evening when you're lying down watching TV? And honestly, these are when I get my best my best inspirations, I think. And I'm watching TV and we're watching a movie. I remember watching a movie when I come up with the idea of the Property Investor app. We were watching Warhorse, and I said to Shireen, you know what? Why are we doing all this marketing on email when I can just put it in the form of an app? And as a result of that, people see it in the form, and she goes, brilliant idea. And then it started going off from there. And so, is this what happens with Bobby? So you're watching something, or you're out to dinner, out to dinner, and she goes, you look around, you think, oh, I've got it.
Yeah, so he never disconnects. And he's exactly the same. So our conversations are really late at night. I'm like, oh my God, it's 12 o'clock and he's coming up with these new ideas. But I remember that 1984 campaign, the last one, we were watching 1917.
Yeah.
And he looked at that and he's like, oh God, I've got the idea. I've got to contact the design team. It was like 11 o'clock. I'm like, okay. Yes, we'll contact the design team tomorrow. It's 11 o'clock. But I think then and there you send actually emails and all of that. I want it like this. I want it to look like that. He had all of the marketing idea of how it was going to look based on that.
I think, do you know what it is? I think, God works in mysterious ways, and you've just got to sometimes just wait for him to just put it in your path. And in everything that we do, what we see, what we taste, is something which can turn around and change your vision. Every single thing that we've done in this business has been the product of us doing something. It could be being out, it could be me being in an airport. Every time I go to an airport, I'm there taking ideas. I'm looking at brands. I'm looking at, lots of different things. I'm looking at this package car. Look at this. Look at the way they've designed this. I'm not there looking at, buying the product. I'm there fascinated with the way that the concept has been created and packaged. And I think that's where my mind always is. My mind's, it's not how you think, property follows, but you've got to be creative to get the attention. If you've got the attention, you're winning. And the whole purpose, the whole point of, owning and running brands is the attention. And we appear to have it. So why push for it even more? And there is a point at which I'm super relaxed. And I think that's why I'm so chilled with the kids. And I do have time for them because I've done my bit. I've done what I wanted to create. Like I'm not, there's plenty left on the table for everybody else to take now. And that also is my downfall, Ash, because do you know what? The most important thing for me is the balance. It's having that love with my family, looking after my wife and my children, and of course the business is there to service the holidays, the houses, and to put food on the table. Business is not there for anything other than that. So it's just a mechanism to give us a good life, and that's why I run what I run in a very different way.
So would you say that property has allowed you to create a passive income, and has allowed you to live the life, and go back to your own quote, live your best life?
This is the best life. This is the best life. If you said to me, what would you change? I'd say nothing, because
that was one of my questions, actually, by the way. So it goes, what would you change?
Nothing.
So if you had to go back and start it from scratch, what would you change?
Nothing at all. There's nothing to change. This is perfect. I'd never look at what didn't work. I've only ever looked at what's worked. I've never looked at, the problems. I've always looked at solutions. I've never gone out there saying we could have done this. Yes, there's things that you can do, you can change. And if you can do that, then change it. Like I can change something for this afternoon, which reminds me I've got to take my car in for BMW service. They've told me that I've got to do it, but don't worry, we're still going to run this. So yeah, that reminds me, that's what I am with my life. It's things just happen. And I'm super happy. Like,
okay.
And my wife is. If my wife is happy, my kids are happy. Like, I'm automatically happy on the back of that.
Okay, so let's get. We're on for another about 10 minutes, so don't panic. Okay, so where do you see the future of property then? Where do you see the future of property? So you come across obviously lots of different property investors, lots of landlords who you're managing properties for, etc. What's the future of it? We're in a tough time. We're in a tough time. We're in COVID. We've got the government asking businesses to close their doors temporarily.
Sure.
And so this squeeze is being put on all different directions.
Osh, we have an incredible product. Our mindset has to be that of a businessman. We must bring different concepts to the world of property. Those that bring new products, different concepts, bring technology to fintech, attach it to property, are the biggest winners. Create brands so that you get remembered, and as you get eyeballs and you're remembered, you'll get more business. You'll see more opportunities than anybody else. When you say to me, what's the future? We are in the future. We're light years ahead of everybody else. I often laugh, and there's quotations that I put out on LinkedIn. There is no competition, and people laugh at that. They're like, there's no competition. Is this guy deluded? There's only competition if you compete. I don't compete with anyone, and what we are creating here is just an incredible way of doing business. It's one where you can see 20 to 30 opportunities. My teams are going out there, meeting clients, bringing things onto the market. We're buying, selling, developing, refurbishing. There's so many different strategies. It doesn't finish. Even in the current market, I'm humbled. I'm blessed. We're very lucky that property is still going so strong. Always live within your means. Don't overspend. My wife would turn around and say, Bobby literally spends everything. What she doesn't realize is, darling, for everything that we spend on, we get so many opportunities back. And in fact, even if we lose it all, the brand is that strong that when you have so many opportunities coming through, there will never be a time where you can't make it work. It's just crazy. I'm the little boy that went crazy with one idea. That idea was brand it that hard, build the brand and the business that strong that you don't need to worry about the opportunities. The opportunities will come flying in. Be creative with what you've got. And that's the reason, Ash, why it's gone become so big. We didn't just have a billboard. We've got like 5,000 billboards and screens. You have to be creative with them. There's no good just saying we're on a billboard. No, but what did you put on it? And if it gets remembered, you'll have traction and you will grow. Today, my teams are doing transactions. We've got a lot of buyers from all over the world. So there's certain arms of the business that are doing really well, like our Hong Kong arm, our London arm, our cash purchasers arm. So there's a club membership. There's guaranteed rent, which went through the roof in the lockdown. Everybody's crying about, different things that we launched. None of these have got third-party backup. Every single one is, guaranteed by the directors of the group. And we're in a blessed position that we don't need to go to third parties to ask about risk or to ask about cover. We've got enough liquid funds to turn around and take on 10 times more risk than what we've taken on. But once again, this comes down to, are you happy? Are you comfortable? Do you need to take any more chances or risks? Or are you happy that, you take the best things off the table? And I always say to my wife, she says, Bobby, you let 20 deals go. What's wrong with you? And I said, darling, I took the best one off the table. Look, she's laughing now. Ain't it true? Honey, is that the way it is? Take one off the table and leave the 20 weak ones.
Yeah, I think Bobby's strategy is to concentrate on good deals, so do the less amount of work as possible with the biggest return.
Could you say that one more time?
The less amount of work as possible with the biggest return.
Yeah.
That's the way that Bobby operates. So he doesn't want to manage, a building with 20 properties. He'll be thinking, oh, no, that's too much work. What is he going to pay me for that? No, I'd rather just manage 2 or 3 here and there over a guaranteed rent, and I'll be making the same amount. And I won't be managing 20 properties. So
it's true. It's true. Well, you have a look. You can't be the busy fool. You can't be the busy fool. You've got to run around. You don't want to run around for 20 properties if you know that you can make the same kind of money in 1 or 2.
That's the future.
And you've got to value your time. You've got to value your experience. You've got to value your worth. And I think lots of people don't do that. They think, oh, I'm going to make £500 off this. Yeah, let's go and help that. But in order to go and chase that £500, you might actually be missing £2,000 over here.
Exactly.
So you do have to look at that.
Less is more.
Less is more. That's a great quote. So we're going to kind of wrap up now, Bobby, because we've been on for quite a while, and we've got lots of key and golden nuggets. So what would be your parting comments to anyone that's listening to this podcast now, and they want to find out a little bit more about? Well, I should actually mention that 2019 looked like it was a good year for you. So you've got quite some good accolades for 2019. Seek Businessman of the Year 2019. Most Influential Businessman of the Year 2019. SME Business of the Year 2019 from Birmingham Chamber. So it's been a really good year for you for 2019. 2020, I can imagine, has equally been as good, regardless of all the challenges that businesses have faced. What would you like to finish on? How would you like people to remember Bobby Singh and Love Your Postcode? And more importantly, how can they get in contact with you?
Look, I would want to be remembered for being fair, being transparent, always, happy to share the story, and to let people know about my failures. My failures are my successes. I would not be where I am if I didn't have the most amazing, family behind me, and that's why I always put my family out there, because I think they should be winning with me every single day. Look, there's always going to be ups and downs. There's always going to be challenges. But if you live in a very positive way, positivity follows you around. Have good energy. Be good. Give sensibly, and you will get 10 times more back. I follow the Sikh way of life. Less is more. Don't be greedy. You're not going to take it all with you in the end. Do what you can, focus on the story, the legacy. What is it that you want your kids to talk about, when they're sitting on your lap, or your grandkids when you're in your 70s? And for me, it's always about the story. Grandpa twisted his mustache up and built a brand, and it's hilarious how he did it, and that just creates that story. Why should the story have to be about somebody else, Ash, when the story should be about you? You are in control of your life. Why is it that you live a second rate life and you give somebody else the spotlight? Keep it on yourself and just come up with amazing things. If you are going to do business, don't copy, improvise, improve, add things to it, focus on margin. We would never be where we are if it wasn't for the fact that we created our own product. The way that we did things was way ahead of its time. And even this year, Ash, last year we won all of those awards. The reason why we won all of those awards, Ash, was because it was a 10-year anniversary. Remember, the awards that you've just mentioned are all linked to 10 years ago when Trading Standards turned around and called me a liar, a fraudster, said that Bobby Singh said he was number one. Well, now I'd like to say to Trading Standards with 2 middle fingers in the air that, you drove me, you helped create this brand, and this is my response back to you when I stand on stages and I collect all of those awards. There's people out there that are burning and they're in pain watching this right now, and for me, that's my response back. You should have just given me a bit of time to build up my brands and my businesses. So to all of the entrepreneurs out there, go and make it, man. If you need any advice, contact me, find me on LinkedIn, find me on Facebook. I will always give my time to any one of your listeners. It's free of charge, and I'm always here. And make products. If you've got products, run them by me and Ash, and we will tell you how to scale them. I could have spoken to you about 10 other products that create all of the wealth, but we'll keep that for another one of your podcasts. I would love to talk to you about our performance brands. I would love to talk to you about, you may be asking yourself the question, where's all this money come from? And I will tell you about the products that made us millions of pounds within the last 10 years and no bank borrowing. But Ash, it's been an absolute pleasure. I am not as smart as you think I am. I just happen to be a little bit crazy. I took a few risks. My poor wife has looked at me and said, darling, you've got no money in the bank, but you've signed a £250,000 partnership deal. And I've said to her, don't worry, the money will follow. You've got to trust me. So to big up to all of those ladies that back their man, that support them, to the Catalinas and the Shireens out there, if it wasn't for you, we would not be where we are. I think me and Ash enjoy a good life, and we probably in our mind still think that we're bachelors because we get away with so much. But it's actually you that we come home to every day because you keep us in check.
Shireen, just for the disclaimer, I don't think I'm a bachelor. I don't think I'm a bachelor. I want dinner tonight. I do not think I'm a bachelor. So, guys...
oh my God, I was about to cry then.
So, I mean, guys, as you can see, we've had a great time on the podcast. So, I want to first of all say thank you very much to Bobby. It's been a great guest, great first guest. There's a man behind the brand, and what a story that he's had to tell. He's not let anything off the hook. He's told us everything, no holds barred. So I want to say thank you to Bobby. Thank you very much for your time. As always, if you want to touch base with him, you can find him. His best platform to find him on is LinkedIn. You can find him on Facebook under Love Your Postcode. I think you're also on Instagram under Bobby Singh and Love Your Postcode.
Just Google. My proudest moment is when I ranked for everything on page 1 of Google for Bobby Singh. So if you guys are wondering, how do I find Bobby? Just type Bobby Singh. That's it.
Okay, fantastic. So guys, if you want to get in contact with Bobby, you want to ask some more questions, you want to understand more about the lion, I think the quote for this session is be more lion. Be more lion.
Absolutely.
So be more lion. So that's going to be the hashtag for this podcast. As always, guys, I want to thank you very much for all your time. Thank you very much for all your time and listening to the extended podcast. Normally our podcast around 15 to 20 minutes.
You should support Ash's podcasts, and for everybody out there that's looking for the golden nuggets, Ash is going out of his way to build this audience. So take the best bit, always subscribe, and I'm sure Ash will keep pumping out amazing content for you. I've never seen anybody so motivated in the last 10 years. He is so driven, and he deserves all the success for the man that he is. So Ash, well done. You know, we have known each other for such a long time, and our journeys have come close and gone further apart. But you've just got to always remember that the good guys are few and far between. So keep doing what you're doing.
Can I let you into a little secret, Bobby? The cream always rises to the top.
Absolutely.
The cream always rises to the top, and I'll leave you with that note. So guys, if you like the thought of that, you want more free content, please feel free to go to my YouTube channel. So all you got to do is go to YouTube, type in Arshilahi. As always, you can contact with me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter and Instagram by typing in Arshilahi. Finally, and I always mention this on all podcasts, if you haven't already downloaded the Property Investor app, why not? It's the UK's first property investment marketplace that showcases below market value deals, rent to rent deals, lease option deals, as well as everything else. All you got to do is get your phone, get your smartphone, type in Property Investor, go into the App Store, type in Property Investor. If you don't like using apps, you can go to our website, which is www.propertyinvestorapp.co.uk. As always, I want to say a quick, massive thank you to Bobby for being with us this morning. And do you want to say one last thing, Bobby?
No, Ash, I think you really have covered it all. So well done to you and all of your teams and the size of your operation. Thank you to everybody behind the scenes. You know, sometimes you just don't realise how big a man's team is. So well done to you and to all of your listeners. I wish you well with your journey.
Brilliant.
Try to connect spiritually. You'll get what you deserve. You know, believe in karma, good energy, and don't push for things. They will come to you. You know, it's all in good time.
Brilliant. And on that note, guys, as always, I wish you to all be safe, well and happy, and I'll speak to you all very soon. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
The large majority of people make a positive change if they take immediate action. So act now. Download the Property Investor app and join Arsh on his social media channels to excel your property journey.